Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Sunday talk within the Nine-Sided Circle. I'm your host, Noor Kyle.
And I am her loyal sidekick, Mushtaq Ali.
As always, thank God. And we want to welcome all of you who are here live and those of you who are watching on the replay. Thank you so much for joining us. It's so good to have you.
Yeah, we've got an exciting talk tonight, believe it
Yeah,
or not.
what are we
Tonight we're going
talking
to be
about?
talking about the only breath practice Gurdjieff ever taught.
Yeah, and he
And
has some strong feelings about breath practices in
and
general.
he didn't teach that he did not put this down until he wrote the Life is Only Real Then When I Am. And he never finished that book, and it was not published in his lifetime.
Yeah, so it's kind of a raw manuscript that we nonetheless have available to us, and that's one of the source materials that we're looking at this evening. In translation of a translation, of course.
Yeah,
But
it was originally written by Gurdjieff in Armenian and then translated into Russian and then translated from Russian to English. So starting with the way Gurdjieff writes, it just gets worse from there.
it's fun. We listened to it today. So before we get into that, though, we just want to, go through the usual invitation to support us by liking, commenting, subscribing to our channel, sharing our work if you find it fascinating and think others will too. Definitely, we benefit and the group benefits from all of us making sure that we are satisfying the stupid algorithm we all know and love. But I know that we also have the fun drive going. Thank you so much to all of you who have already donated, and thank you to those who are considering donating. Thank you. As you know, we do have um links in the description for that. Let us know when you, well, first of all, let me back up and say if you happen to donate $10 US or more, we will, with due time, be sending you a PDF that is it's a commentary and a translation on a traditional Sufi text. We're talking like almost 1,000 years old.
Yeah, there's
That
not much commentary really.
Yeah. So, it is the document translated into English, and it offers some of the foundational material of what our lineage has developed from, and we think people will find that fascinating. It's really a window into Sufism as it was in the time of the author. And we really enjoy sharing historical documents like that. And we know that there will be spiritual benefit for many of us in taking a look at that. There's a lot of commentary about ethics, morals, adab, as we say, beautiful behavior, things of that nature,
And also
figures from our
defining
tradition.
descriptions of interesting things.
Yeah, there's a lot of people have asked for definitions for the Arabic terms that we use. There will be a glossary involved, so you kind of get to learn as you go. And I have taken up the editing. Mushtaq did the translation, the text development. I'm doing the editing. I'm on my first pass right now. I'm hoping to have this sent out to everyone who has qualified for receiving that gift. Probably by the end of this week or the middle of next week. I want to make sure I do a good job for you guys. So please look forward to that. When you donate in the comments or notes section, please share the email that you would like us to send your document to. That will be a big help for us to make sure that we can get it to the people who are expecting it. We want to follow through on that. So thank you so much for your patience, and I can't wait for you guys to receive that for too much longer. Anything else, Mushtaq?
Um, no, that's pretty much it. Let's get on
Yeah.
with the show.
All
What the heck
right.
are we talking about?
Gurdjieff's breath practice.
Yeah,
Let's talk
let's
about it.
dive right into it. That's your cue.
I'm sorry, what? I was busy looking at the chat. What are we talking about? Who are we
Gurdjieff's,
talking about?
Gurdjieff's
Gurdjieff's
breath
breath
practice.
practice. Yes. Ah. yeah, so for Gurdjieff, something breath practice is something he takes very seriously. It's not something you just do because you're trying to amuse yourself or self-regulate or be all spiritual. He wants you to do it with intention and with some knowledge about the effects of what you're doing. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit from his perspective. And then eventually we're going to teach you a little bit about the practice he gave to people he felt were at a point of experience where they were prepared to influence their bodies through their breath. Since, as we know, breath affects the body and the body affects the breath.
Yeah.
Same thing with, the mind and the emotions. All of those are affected by the breath. All of those affect the breath. This is why it becomes such a useful tool in the toolkit for, yeah, for self-regulation and things of that nature, and for deepening into spiritual practice. But I do agree with him that there are ways that you can do it that end up causing difficulty, even harm. And that's why we share the knowledge that we have, both, me and Mushtaq, but I mean everyone who has insights into mastering breath work. It benefits us to share that information with each other because everyone has a body. It's our birthright to become more attuned to how it works. And I think that this is a step towards that. Where would you like to start, Mushtaq?
Well, we'll kind of start there with the idea. Gurdjieff used to say, you either change everything or you change nothing. And this was his bitch about breath practice in his time, is that it was disconnected from uh, the holistic transformation of the human being. And that's essential. And what he means by that is that you have to change. If you change your breath, you also have to change your structure and you
Mhm.
have to change your movement. These three things go together, and we are going to go more deeply into that idea next week.
Ah,
But
yes.
uh, if you don't change all three, changing any one of those is going to be problematic. And sometimes you'll get a little bit of natural change if you do something like work on your structure and you sit up and you're more open and all of that sort of thing. Or, uh, you get your movement a little bit better. But if your breathing and your movement are out of harmony, it's going to be more detrimental to you than positive for you. If you don't think that's the case, try doing um, 10 sit-ups while taking a huge breath in and holding it the whole time you're doing the sit-ups. Just try it sometime. Don't do more than 10 though, because you're liable to hurt yourself. So this is the idea that Gurdjieff based his theory of breath work on. Do everything or do nothing. He thinks, and I agree, that ordinary breathing is mechanical. And usually it's somewhat pathological. There are other places where we have talked about the main forms of pathological breathing.
Yeah, we've done at least a couple videos on breath, like the significance of breath in various breath forms
Yeah,
that people
yeah.
tend to
Start
take
with the
habitually.
first of the nine principles.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah, that too.
yeah, and in our tradition, work on breath is the first step, but it is not isolated from the other steps.
Yeah.
And this is why in our tradition, there are movement practices and postural integration practices that go with the breathing practices. None of them are done in isolation. Does that make sense so far?
Any questions so far? James gives us a thumbs up. Lovely. Okay. I think everyone here has got that, but of course, if anyone watching on the replay has questions, you can always leave them in the comments.
Yeah, and in Gurdjieff's method, he talks about the three foods, breath being the second food. And he makes the observation that if you artificially change your breathing without changing your diet and the taking of impressions, you're going to put yourself out of balance. And that's a maybe a weird way to talk about it, but I think that there's some value uh, in remembering that. And once you change the rhythm of the lungs, you're going to disturb the rhythm of other organs, your stomach, your digestion, your heart. All of these things are connected.
Yep.
So, got to know what you're doing.
I mean, this is a matter of both literal proximity, all of your organs are tucked in close together, but also the metabolic factors involved.
Yeah. And changing your breath changes your heart rate.
Mhm.
You can test this by finding your pulse, feeling it, and then taking a big breath in and holding it. You'll notice that your heart speeds up. If you let all of the air out and pause at the end, your heart rate slows. This is the basis of heart rate variability. If your heart rate variability is good, you tend to live longer. So, Gurdjieff's breath practice is one that does not change the breath. It's a true hoshtardam, attention on breath.
They're just watching, not manipulating via
Yeah.
counting or holding or shifting or anything like that.
So, and we're going to look at exactly how it's done.
Mhm.
Gurdjieff says that you need to divide your attention, but this is not true. As a matter of fact, you cannot divide your intention. You can't make two intentions out here like this.
Yeah, that's his word, not ours.
Yeah. And we have some medical facts backing up backing us up on this. There's been a lot of studies now using fMRI to watch the brain as people who think that they can multitask, try and multitask, and they aren't multitasking. All they are doing is switching back and forth between two different ideas. When they're thinking of one task, they're not thinking of the other task, and they flip back and forth, and thereby making their brains less efficient. This is not that. So let me teach you how to do what is proper to do. The first thing you do is put your attention on your breath. Sense your breath. Take a moment to do that. Feel the in breath and the out breath. Don't change anything. When you have a good feeling of that, expand your awareness to include you having attention on your breath. So you have an attention that is big enough to hold your sensing of the breath and you're watching yourself sensing the breath. It's all one attention, but it's more inclusive. It's how you watch anything. You can pay attention to a leaf. You can pay attention to a branch. You can pay attention to a tree, which includes all of the leaves, or you can pay attention to a forest. So we are just paying attention to the branch rather than just the leaf. Does that make sense? Can you can you find that distinction within yourselves?
Yeah. Ian says yeah.
Yeah.
Sama says yeah.
Now, what is the purpose of this? And there's more to the breath practice, but I wanted you to just get the idea of what we're talking about. When Gurdjieff says divided attention, it's not divided. There is not two. This is Advaita attention.
Kind of catchy.
That's Advaita, the Hindu term.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, not two.
Yeah.
You are including both uninterrupted sensing of breath and attention on the head brain and what's going on with it.
I just wanted to be sure that it wasn't a Latin term that I
No.
was
Yeah.
misleading.
Yeah.
Now, the only Latin I like to use is things like illegitimi non carborundum, which is not really Latin.
RM asks, when paying attention, oneself is not dissociating.
Um, Not as long as your attention is still on your breath. Attention to breath keeps you associated. It keeps you in your body. So as you're here and you're breathing and your awareness is on your breath, you can expand your awareness to also be on the contents of your mind. And you will notice from time to time that you will get little attentional blinks where you have a thought come in. Notice the thought, let it go, and continue to attend to your breath and watch your mind. Now, Gurdjieff says that this is a method for developing a single eye. And he's not wrong. So we're sitting here, we're attending to our breath. We're attending to the concepts of our mind. We notice if we say something to ourselves like, oh, this is boring. It's not really boring, just your mind. So you let it go and you hold your breath and your mind in your attention at the same time.
Like not holding your breath, but
Holding your
keeping
attention.
consciousness on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that help answer your question, RM? Yeah, one thing that strikes me is she says, when I do it, I have a lot of attention blinks. That is normal. And in fact,
Yeah.
I think everyone will, depending on what state they're already in, what's going on around them, what they've been up to, the goings on inside their body or in their space. It's going to be challenging sometimes to practice consistent attention and not have attentional blinks. So one thing that was coming up to my mind as Mushtaq was talking is I think we can make this practice seem more complicated than it is.
Oh,
And
yeah. Trust
for
me, if you read this in
the original, like
the
the
original,
translation of the translation of the original, yeah.
yeah, it is almost incomprehensible, and the language is designed to put you asleep.
Ugh, it was rough. I also think people who either have experience with or expectations of being able to basically dominate their bodies or their breath or their thoughts or whatever, you're going to struggle with this.
Yeah,
And
and you're
so,
not going to dominate your breath, and you're not
no,
going
I
to
mean,
dominate your thoughts.
I am inviting people who struggle with that aspect of it to come around to the idea that this really is about letting that impulse to control go.
Yeah, I one of the things I've found doing this kind of thing is that it really is you need to surrender to the breath.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what it feels like to me.
Yeah, that's a great word for it. I mean, this really is a different kind of practice from anything that involves like holding on the out, the exhale and count to such and such on the inhale. No need. There's just no
Yeah,
need.
you can do that in other places, just not here.
Exactly. There's a time and a reason to do that, and this is the different practice from that. RM says, I got discouraged that my mind is like a machine. The one thing for sure, I kind of know what patterns I have while doing certain tasks. You can you can take that discouragement and just notice it without um allowing it to be a judgment on you. Or we are going to have emotions naturally. We're going to have responses to things as a matter of course, but we can just witness them instead of getting pulled into them as true, if that makes sense.
So once you get this first bit down, there's a second bit that you do. Gurdjieff describes this in 19th century terms, in terms of fluids and substances moving around, and it's not. That's the metaphor that they used back then because that was the science of the time. He says something to the effect of, as you are able to hold this in your attention, the mind and the attention on the breath, you will notice after a while, and the after a while is after the noise in your mind quiets down. Uh, at the end of the exhalation, after you breathe out, there is still something remaining. And that something is as if it were a substance or an energy. He uses both terms for this. I think of this in terms of packing chi.
Hmm.
Um, his his instruction is to let this energy that remains at the end of the exhale to trickle down into the solar plexus and store there and move around there. So let's assume that we've done this enough that we can actually do this. And you are going to assist this find something to flow into the solar plexus. And the way you do that is you take an in breath with your attention on your mind contents and your attention on your breath at the same time. Exhale. And at the end of the exhale, imagine or direct this something to flow directly into the solar plexus, uninterruptedly remembering the whole of yourself while doing this. When you do this, as he observes, your automatic associations stop. And that's the trick of this. Your automatic associations will be put into neutral. So
And
you're not manipulating the pattern of breathing, but you're sensing the actual process as a subtle current through the organism. Using your expanded attention, you have air, body, thoughts, solar plexus. Your attention encompasses all of this. And this creates a state of self-remembering. You just did self-remembering without even trying. So let's see if we can actually do this. Here
yeah,
you thought we were going to talk about all of these philosophical things. Not tonight. We're jumping in and we are going to get you to be able to do this process enough to be able to continue to do it by the end of this talk. And
and
there'll
I
still be room to talk about
right.
weird shit.
And I think we can, I want to tie this back to what Ian was saying about surrender. For some people, this may feel like a movement. For some people, this may be experienced as a flow. For some, it might be allowing. Whatever imagery works for you to get just a taste of the, whether we think of this as a metaphor as or as something that's happening in actuality, the movement of that energy downward. So if we're talking about surrender, maybe it's more like an allowing.
Yeah.
Whatever language works for you as an individual is fine.
So, breath. When you are attending to your breath, you will naturally begin to attend to your whole body because you can't separate your breath from your body. Think about that. Your lungs are a passive organ. They don't do anything but sit in your chest. They don't inspire and expire. It's the body that moves the air for you. And in a healthy person, that includes the entirety of the breathing apparatus. That includes the belly all the way down to the pelvic floor. It includes the entirety of the rib cage, not just forward and back, but side to side and up and down at the same time. We're going to talk, we have talked about that. That's going to be a whole chapter in our next book, uh, how to do this. Um, so breath leads to body, and thoughts lead to finding the energy that you are taking in and directing it to the solar plexus. Doing this creates a state of self-remembering because you are remembering yourself through the act of witnessing all of this. As far as I know, uh, I mean, there are some mentions in some of the early Gurdjieff talks like in Views to the Real World, he makes a reference to it, and in some of the wartime talks, but he never really goes into it in detail. Madame de Salzman went into it in detail. Uh, your attention first senses breathing, and a small portion of that air, it is as if the air stayed and can spread through the organism. It's not really staying. It's as if it were staying. And the other part of your attention, or the expanded part of your attention, is watching your brain, your mind, and noticing the very fine something freeing itself from associations. As you, I think of it as packing the chi down into the solar plexus, you are pulling the energy away from the part of your mind that makes automatic assumptions and using it for something else, which is only fair. When you do this, the associations cease and you feel more fully, I am. Gurdjieff uses the little mantra, I am, I can, I will. And that's not like I will do something in the future. It's I have will that I can exert upon the universe. So in Gurdjieff's philosophy, you can only say I am when you are awake, and you are not awake if you are just having mechanical associations. You only can do things when you are awake. People think that they are doing when they're usually just reacting. And only awake people have will. That's harsh sounding, but it's not really. You visualize the breath if that works for you. But the importance is not in the visualization, but in the feeling.
The sensing.
Yeah, the sensing of it. So if you can sense that last part of the breath, that energy moving from the head center down into the belly with the last bit of the breath, and imagine what it feels like, that's just as good as seeing it. So you don't have to have profound powers of visualization. So this breath practice is in service to something. And it's in service to the sense of I am. And by I am, I'm not talking about that silly uh, stuff that they do with the I am movement. It ain't that. It is the sense in the some of the Advaitist guys talking about uh, the thou art that, I am that. The sense of being without content. It's when you if you stop all of the content of your mind, all of the mechanical content, what is left? And what sees what is left? It's like the old Zen thing where the guy comes to the Zen master uh, and he says, Master, I cannot find myself. The master looks at him and says, Who's looking? Always a good question. So is this making sense to you now, or are we just blathering along?
Hmm. RM says it did relax me. The thought burdens felt less. Wow.
Good. That means it's working.
Yeah.
It does
Yes,
seem to be quite
James.
potent. Um, yeah, and it matches in well with in a previous talk when you talked about cultivating alertness on the in breath and then sort of relaxing into presence on the out breath.
Yeah.
Uh,
We've been talking about this in various ways
hmm.
for the last 7 years.
I can't remember you presenting it in this way before.
We haven't.
That would explain it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks,
Somebody.
James. Connecting the dots for us. Much
For
appreciated.
me.
Well, you're helping everyone. Yes, Jefferson.
Yeah, I was, I don't know if it was self-remembering or self-witnessing. I guess it was self-remembering that I was coming up for me at a certain point, an association that pinged. Um, but that there was something about I was getting this like a blowing up a balloon inside of a balloon. I mean, I was having sensing, and then I was having like almost like associations coming in. I was able to let them drift. But when you talked about that dropping of the energy, I had a little bit of experience with a qigong, a primordial qigong, I think it was called, where there was some things like that, and that did something. The allowing, because that was like an allowing for me. The allowing
Yeah.
of that added something really rich. And then you said, I think Mushtaq said self-remembering, and the way I experienced it, and the way it even occurs in me is like the ember part of remember, ember. It was like re-embering. It was like life for. It was like remembering aliveness, or like this energy cycling inside of me, and I was just like, I wasn't doing anything, but energy was cycling, aliveness was cycling within me, and I was just like a present and witness. Like that was the strobing, I guess, a little bit for me. Present witness, that's where I would flicker.
Yeah. And that's perfect. That means you're
I love
you're
that. Thank
heading
you.
in the right direction. Exactly.
You
Keep
I
too.
mean,
going.
Wow.
and let me just, I mean, maybe it's silly to say, I thank you.
Please,
I mean,
no.
you guys take stuff. I've been to some websites. I mean, I didn't experience anything before the nine-sided circle, but I've looked at a few things, and any breathing practice, it's like there's like a somebody's hitting a Tibetan bowl, and there's like a real solemn voice, and you guys just really make it so simple, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, breathing should be simple. We do it every damn day. So, and it's more fun if we're not like hitting the bowl and now inhale on my count. Who wants to inhale on somebody else's count? I don't even want to inhale on my count.
Well, and I try to apply this stuff when I'm like when I'm building a wall. I bring in again, it's strobic. But I'm trying to bring it in just everyday life, and that's you guys walk it. Well, whatever, you guys deliver it in a way that makes it applicable.
That I love hearing that.
Yeah,
That's what we
because
want.
that's the mission of our lives is to be able to deliver this stuff in a way that's actually useful.
Yes. Amen. Awesome. Thank you, Jefferson. Hmm. What are you thinking about, Osama?
Yeah. The I feel like when I put attention, I'm paying attention to the breath. The minute I expand that attention to the content of my mind, I find that I naturally go into dhikr, like to give something to my mind. I'm giving like, okay, here you go. I can um yeah, I have that experience of like I can sit with uh just expanding the attention to the mind content and allowing for that to be and letting go. Um, but I find after some time that I go into dhikr, especially when I'm moving the energy to the um down to the belly. Like when I move that energy there, I find myself going into dhikr. Um, which is, I mean, it's as far as an experience, um, it does feel like a witnessing the entire operation happening at the same time, kind of like just witnessing the tree. Yeah, but I do find that dhikr comes in, or that mantra just comes in and settles itself in there. Mm, yeah, which I don't know because that's been mainly how I sit in my meditation when I'm paying attention to my breathing. And then there is the dhikr, there's the inner mantra that when I try to sit and not use the mantra, it just naturally kind of comes in. Um,
Yeah, that's really interesting. Thank you for
yeah.
sharing about that. I think
Hmm.
that's an insight into how you connect with your breath, how you connect to your body, and, connect the dots, as it were, between cognition and sensory awareness through using a mantra like a dhikr. I don't think there's anything to critique about that. I would just invite you to explore what it's like to see what happens without the dhikr entering in, you know, just to see what it's like, just to feel it out.
Yeah. There is a moment in the meditation itself where the dhikr will drop, even that will drop. Um, yeah. And there's a sweetness within that, even that in itself. Um, but I feel kind of like what RM was saying earlier, like my mind can get so busy that I just have to give it something. Like, okay, go play with that.
Something to chew on.
Yeah, something to chew on. Go play with that. Um, yeah, yeah, that's what I have to say about
Thank
that.
you, Osama. Hey,
Mm.
Mushtaq, do you have any impressions on that?
I think he's dead on.
Mm.
So where do we take this? How do you apply it? That's the question.
Aw.
Well,
RM says, being with you all makes breath practice so much easier. It is easier to do it together, yes, and I'm so glad that we can take time to do that.
yeah. And here's a plug. If breathing in isolation is not the way to go, and one breathes in movement, you guys need to learn that in a practical way. There's a number of different ways. If you happen to be Muslim and you are doing your prayers, think about the movements of the prayers as ways to breathe you. if you are doing sun salutation, consider the fact that there is a way to do sun salutation where you don't have to breathe at all. The movements of the sun salutation will breathe for you. Consider that walking will help you do this, believe it or not. And then consider coming to one of our in-person events so you can actually learn. You can do the practices that make this a real thing. Just a thought, just a little plug that I'm slipping in there. It's only a suggestion.
A seed for the future.
Yes. As I used to say when I was teaching, I'm only a hypnotist, and this is only a suggestion.
All right, where did we leave off? This is all good stuff.
We left off at me about to say, be very careful of artificial breathing patterns on your own.
Mm,
If you learn those kinds of things, learn it from someone who knows, not someone who thinks that they know, not someone who did a 6-week yoga workshop to be a yoga instructor and they were told what the teacher was told by his teacher, and has nothing to do with real pranayama.
That brings a certain popular yoga movement to mind, calling itself Kundalini Yoga.
Oh yeah. Of
Gurus recently came across. I've watched some of the stuff, and I'm not surprised people get high and
course, they're
probably get
hyperventilating.
bubbly. Yeah, there's no way you can do breath of fire that long in that combination without turning into hyperventilation. Um, but they often say initially, at least, I feel fantastic, I feel great.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
breath of
sleeping.
fire will do that because breath of fire, more than anything else, will make you incredibly impressionable.
mm.
Yeah, that's the other thing they talk about. They find themselves signing up for these workshops immediately after a 1.5 hour session. Do you want to come along to this? Sign on the
Wow.
dotted line.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, that particular movement has been pretty much shown to be a high control, uh, high toxicity cult.
I see them scattered around Melbourne and they're all disavowing their origins.
Well,
Hmm.
yeah,
But
but
they
they
all
are,
still got the white turbans and furious pumping
Yeah.
and the pseudo Sikhi mantras. So yeah, but they don't like to talk about Yogi Bhajan anymore.
yeah, or any of his first generation people under him for either for
Mm,
that matter. But
yeah.
you know, people get to do whatever they want to do. As Rumi said, if it weren't for fool's gold, we wouldn't know real gold when we saw it. So fortunately, there's plenty of fool's gold in the world.
This artificial breathing, though, that would eventually have consequences, would catch up with you neurophysiologically, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, look at another cult leader, Wim Hof. You know,
Ah,
people die doing his breathing techniques. Who is it? Last name's Carney, I think. Used to be a big Wim Hof.
Scott Carney.
I
I,
think
yeah, I
so.
think that's
He's
it.
like a, investigative journalist of some type. Yeah.
Yeah, and he has a lot to say about that because
He's
he
got
was,
feelings.
yeah, he's got serious feelings on it. And people who've done Hof's stuff have died doing it. And I don't recommend that. I don't recommend dying while doing breath practice. It's counterproductive. And one of the ways around that is at first, you don't do a breath practice that forces you to alter your breath. We've given a couple of breath practices that will alter your breath, but we have tested them and know that they are safe and not going to do anything horrible to you. Um, but mostly, when I give a person a breath practice, it is be aware of your breath. Don't change anything. Breathe in a relaxed manner. and just have your awareness on your breath. That's the best first breath practice.
Agreed. And the thing is, people get a little annoyed with us. Like, I came to you for this. Like, I'm breathing all the time.
Yeah, which
I don't.
nostril should I breathe out of? All of this stuff.
But the thing is, as all of us know from personal experience, having done this, right, and all of the mental gymnastics that come up, wow, what a challenge it really is to just sit there and watch the breath and to know that that is the exercise. You're not expected or needing to add any other fancy shit. Just utilizing your inborn
Yeah.
awareness.
Yeah. When I talked about surrendering to the breath earlier, it's one of the things that I find very challenging to do. Um, I'm not quite sure why, but that's just the way it is.
You're not alone in that.
Yeah.
We've all struggled with it at some point or another and continue to struggle with it at some times. Like I said, some days are easier than other days to just sit and be. Who'd have thought?
Yeah, there are definitely times where I've been able to succeed at it, and it's just a wonderful feeling. And recently, I've been finding it a little bit more challenging
Yeah,
again.
understandable. Thanks, Ian.
Osama.
Yeah. One of the things now that Ian mentioned that challenge with the surrender is that it made me think of the breathing pattern that happens when somebody's playing music, um, or even just the example of music itself and having a contrast, right? Like when somebody is, um, let's say, chanting, and there's a particular breathing pattern that is induced through that, and stopping right away, and the contrast of the noise to the silence, or the breathing pattern to the quote unquote natural breathing pattern. It just allows for a awareness of the subtlety of the natural breathing pattern or the silence itself in terms of music. Like sometimes you sit down and okay, it's silent and almost okay, you can touch the silence. But when there's music filling the room and then boom, there's a moment of silence. Silence becomes almost louder than the music itself. Um, so I find that experiencing things in contrast of whether it's a breathing and then going back to the natural breathing um, allows for a level of sensitivity of the subtlety of the natural breathing rhythm, um, and allowing for that surrender to be like, oh, okay, I can allow myself to surrender in this natural uh, rhythm that's happening all the time. Because when it's happening all the time, for myself, I feel like I become, what's the word, desensitized by it. Like I just, oh, this is what it is all the time. I can't feel the subtlety in it. But in contrast, then I'm able to feel that subtle pattern itself that is happening in the natural rhythm.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah, good observation. Yes, Jefferson.
Really simply for me, just the awareness of breath, the Hashtardam is, I mean, I can be hard on myself. Other people here listening can probably relate to that. So I'll have a tendency to be hard on myself at times. And that I almost it's almost, you take the etch a sketch and you shake the etch a sketch back to a clear screen. And for me, part of that practice is it just gives me some kind of a reset. It like I drop out of my thoughts. All the thoughts just kind of drop away, and I'm back just at this simple place of being with whatever. I mean, my life. There's a lot of, domestic and work. I'm doing a lot in my life right now with my circumstances, so it's not a lot of like quiet sitting, but it's a treasure for me, just in that because. Oh, and it's also like I mean, you've probably said this a million times, but it's like that. It's the foundation for self-observation, all of those practices rest on this. And I feel like it's not building a muscle. Maybe it is, but it's like just by remembering to breathe and be aware of breath. Then when I go and I'm gonna do a little bit of this, or I mean, self-observation would be the first one because that's the one that I thought I understood and I did not. Like past month and a half, I've been like I did not get observation. And so it's been allowing me to actually, oh, there's a voice. It sounds like my voice. It's saying that, really start to get actual traction, a little bit of traction.
Yeah. And I see Osama nodding, so you guys are bouncing off of each other, and I think that's really good stuff. Thank you, Jefferson. Yeah, you make a great point that it's practices like this and similar ones. I mean, a lot of the breath practices that we teach can be brought into everyday activities, and it's not really, although I personally do sometimes sit on a cushion for 20 minutes, that's not really a traditional thing we do, the whole just sit zazen thing. It's meant to be something that you can do while washing the dishes or as you're saying, whatever you've been working on professionally lately, and Osama, during activities that you've been up to, bringing this into just the everyday things. Of course, sitting zazen is also everyday things. That's why a lot of people do enjoy that time just sitting. But we can bring that kind of awareness into everything that we do. It just takes time. It takes experiential time. Yes, RM says, I do self-observation in real time, like when I'm playing roles like mother and doctor and
That's
etc.
the best time to do it.
Hmm. Yep. Yes.
So let's go through this step by step one more time. First, get yourself comfortable. You don't have to be comfortable, but it helps.
You get the opportunity right now
Yeah.
to be comfortable.
So, first, place your attention on your process of breathing. Don't change anything. Feel the breath as it comes in and it comes out. Some of you may be breathing way up high in the chest, and that's okay because you're not moving. You don't need extra breath. Some of you may be breathing in the chest, and some of you may be breathing in the belly. All three are good. So feel your breath. Feel your body move your breath. There is no breath without your body. The lungs can't work on their own. This is something people never realize. The lungs are a completely passive organ. It's your diaphragm, your intercostals, your deep core muscles, all of those are involved in your breathing. Even your thoracic muscles up here. You can breathe just by bringing your shoulders back, putting them forward. However it is that you're breathing, just be aware of that and feel the air coming in. And take a moment to just do that and nothing else. Be aware of your breath. If your mind chatters at you, tell it to be patient. You'll get to it in a moment. Now, as you're doing this, I want you to notice that a small part of what comes in remains. And it would be as if it settles down and spreads gently from the lungs down into the solar plexus. This is requiring you to use your imaginal energy. And you're not trying to force it. You just want to taste. Just a sense that there is something that remains with every breath. And this is actually true. There is a residual breath that never leaves your lungs. If it were to leave your lungs would collapse and you would die. So don't do that. But something from that air spreads through you, specifically down into your solar plexus and belly. Now you have a taste of that. Let your attention widen so that you keep your awareness of your breath and you put your awareness on your mind, on the content of your mind. Notice the thoughts as they arise and as they disappear. Notice when your attention moves away and keep your attention on your breath. So you're doing both of these things. That will kind of change into just a sense of the I am that is watching. I am is just a code name for that which is the witness to your being. Now, keep the first half and the second half and attend to the space inside your skull. There'll be a flow of thoughts, images, reactions. Just observe them as you observe your breath. Let the associations do whatever they do. Don't fight them. Don't follow them. Just witness them. After you do this for a little bit, notice, sense that from all of these associations, something very fine arises. I like to feel it like a subtle vapor of thought, a very fine energy that is not the content, but the juice that makes the process happen. When you find that, use your will to help that something flow downward into the solar plexus while keeping your attention on your breathing and on your mind. And what your mind is doing now is helping that whatever it is flow downward easily, lightly into the solar plexus. And when you do that, notice that the noise goes away, the words go away, and you are just present in that I am, for lack of a better term. And allow that to turn into a remembrance of your whole self. Head, chest, solar plexus, belly, all of it breathing. And rest in that sense of I am. When you have that, that is the single I. That is the I without quotations. And then you can come back. You never really left. And now that we've walked through that, you don't need me ever again to show you how to do this. Now you know. So the next time you want me to show this to you, if you've already seen it, it's going to cost you $1,000. Nora's laughing at me. This is literally this simple. It's not easy because, as you've noticed, your mind is going to try and scrabble around like a squirrel that had found this a half a cup of cappuccino and gobbled it down. And all it takes is constant, ongoing practice.
Nice. Yeah. Good. RM
Yeah.
says, so grateful for this. Feels like a deep massage this time, especially my skull. It felt like the belly got some food. Oh. Hopefully it soothed your caffeinated squirrel brain, Osama.
I love these remarks, and I look forward for Mushtaq's just one-liners. It's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's soothing. I have a practice like this. I haven't really put words to it, but this helps me, working with this with Mushtaq has helped me figure out how to describe it to others. So I'm very pleased about that. So what do we do with this chi bubble in our tummies, Mushtaq?
We come back to these talks as we address that.
Yeah, that's fun. Cool. Oh, good. RM says my sickness part feels better too.
Yay.
Bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ian.
It was very wonderful doing all that, but there is one thing, uh, as usual, probably, my experience is a little bit different because I can't feel it going down into my solar plexus. But what I do feel is it goes down my lower back and sort of into my butt.
You're doing it
And
wrong. Oh no, your head is going to explode.
I'm not worried about that.
Neither am I. You know,
Uh,
it's
and, and
whatever
and
works for you,
also
man.
and also it sort of I can feel it in my head and not this time in particular, but recently in my regular practice, which is somewhat similar to this, I felt it sort of creeping up further into the top of my head occasionally.
Yeah.
But the reason I wanted to point this out is just because of the fact that I'm very comfortable with the fact that my experience is not what you're describing, but it's my experience,
Yeah,
and
it's my
I'm very
description
comfortable
is
with
not
it.
what you're experiencing. There's a difference. You're experiencing exactly what I want you to experience. I'm just using words that don't match how you constitute it.
Yeah.
So keep doing what you're doing. It's not wrong. And as it goes down your spine, there may come some point where you can allow that to just fill your belly a bit. You never know. It might happen. Not saying that
Yeah.
it will, but it might.
Yeah. I don't feel that I'm resisting it going down there. It's just,
Well, if it's going down your spine, it's going in the right direction.
yeah.
So don't sweat it. But if you like, I will send you a certificate that says that you were allowed to do it wrong.
Thanks, Ian. Thanks for offering your
Yeah.
perspective,
And
your
while I
experience.
may be teasing Ian a little bit about this because that's us, um, there is, it's hard to screw this up. It's
Mhm.
hard to not do it correctly if you do the two things, which is awareness of your breath and awareness of your mind.
Yeah.
Those two things are what you need. Everything else will fall from it.
Yeah. And one of the things that I found interesting about the way you described it tonight, and you didn't do it the second time, but the first time was when you went back a level from watching the breath to watching the watching of the breath.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because I've experienced that that kind of thing during self-observation. Um, and I've managed to, uh, occasionally, I've managed to go as far as 3 levels back.
Yeah. Which is
Um,
good as long as you remember that that's actually an infinite regress.
yeah, I've never got even close to going further back than that. But that little twist about watching,
Watching yourself, watching the breath. Yeah.
yeah, I think that was a very, for me, I found that to be a very meaningful thing.
Good. I'm going to bear that in mind.
Yeah.
I tend to stay away from that instruction because most people get a little bit confused by it, but why not? I personally like it.
Mm. And I find it interesting, I just want to add in my 2 cents because I mentioned that I do a similar practice to this. And for me, it goes a little bit lower than the solar plexus if I do it just instinctively and intuitively. But I can settle it in either place, so to speak. And it's really a matter of just working through it, see what happens.
Yeah, I think one of I didn't experience this tonight, but at times when I've been doing my regular practice, I have found that it's become easier for me to breathe from my abdomen, which I don't normally get to do. Um, and
Yeah,
that feels definitely very good when it happens.
good. Excellent. I am glad that we got to go through this, not just one time, but a couple of times.
Yeah. Well, that's what we wanted to do tonight is to do less philosophical talking because I personally get sick of that after a while. And
You?
just do the practice.
Yeah, yes.
And this
Agreed.
is the fundamental practice that we do. This is different words, but the same thing. This is Hashtardam. This is breathe consciously, awareness of breath.
Yep.
So we try every way we can to get you to do that. It's a trick. Get the axe.
We put the pill in the tree, trying to get you
Yeah.
to take it. Yep. It's good for you.
So now that James has rejoined us, maybe it's time for his thoughts.
I was never away. I was just shy. Um, it's okay. So I started here at the start of 2023,
Hmm.
and immediately tied myself in a knot trying to do the that sort of simultaneous outside, inside, and overall. And Mushtaq said, "Look, just do Am I Awake instead for a while." Now I've gone back to that, and I'm doing that practice without tying myself into a knot, and this is just like a further deepening of it. Um, Now, Ian, what you were saying before about watching the whole process and watching yourself watching, that is still the thing that I sort of, it's almost like I'm on the outer surface of a sphere and everything else is happening inside. Well, that's what I'm trying to be. It's really hard to describe, but I'm not getting angsty about it like I used to. Um, I don't know if I can add anything to whatever everyone else hasn't already said. I just like the way things that have been taught separately are lining up with each other.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's the
It's good
You've
to
been
know.
here long enough now to realize that we don't ever teach anything separately.
no.
It's all part
Um,
of a master plan that we have deeply planned out for years and years. We have an entire schematic of how to do this. And if you believe
hmm.
that,
Well,
I actually own Melbourne Harbor and I can sell it to you cheap.
I wouldn't want it, but yeah, no, no, I can't think any. I'm trying to think. Is there anything I can add apart from? Oh, no, just the way everything combines Smith's or the same theme is expressed in multiple ways. However you want to say
Yeah.
it, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just waffling. I'll stop waffling now. It's your fault, Ian. You provoked me.
Part of my job.
Well, I don't think I have anything to add offhand. What about you, Mushtaq?
Nope, nope,
Yeah.
do the thing.
Okay. So, well, RM asks, how do the newbies follow the schema?
Watch all 7 years of our videos and then ask that.
Could I add something to that real quick?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Pr Practice Hashtardam while you watch the videos. I've watched videos while my mind is nuts, and then I've watched videos where I'm attuned to my breath, and it's like
Yeah.
we should be paying thousands of dollars.
Yeah, yeah, everybody should, but nobody does.
No. Oh, hello. Hello. Welcome. Cute.
She can't hear because my headphones are on. But
Oh, that's okay. No worries. It's good to meet. All right. Yes. Okay, so for Hoshdar if you want like the very beginnings of that, you can go to our 9 precepts playlist and check that out. But from there, I mean, we talked about it time and time again because we're always talking about the importance of breath, and you'll see that you just have to have the desire to watch and learn and apply. So Jefferson, thank you for
Yeah,
attesting to
because
that,
what you say is absolutely true.
and very much appreciated
Yeah.
to hear. All right. With that said, we can go to Brady Bunch mode.
All right. Wow, we're in Brady Bunch mode.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone again for being here, for watching on the replay, hanging out with us live. We appreciate you so much. And yeah, hang in there for those of you who have done the $10 plus donations. Your gift, the PDF, is coming to you within the next week and a half. So your patience is so very appreciated. I hope we can give you something that you really find beneficial. Until next week, then, we can wave to each other with everybody watching on the replay. Take care, everyone.
Bye.